Hello everyone and welcome to Steegcast. We are back yet again. Sorry for the long delay. It's been pretty much a year since our last actual episode. So I'm joined today by Mr. Sean Jenkins, Tom Cartwright and Gareth Barra, and my name is Richard Myrick. Before we get into this month's episode, we want to take a minute to just talk about one of our close friends who sadly passed away recently, that being Mr. Andy Brotherton. If anyone who's listened to this cast over the last, 4 years, we've been doing this, 5 years, probably heard his name being mentioned once or twice. He's a big part of what we do behind the scenes, like myself and Gareth, when we go out and shoot videos, take photos, anything like that. He's pretty much there for all of that.
Absolutely.
And he was just one of our biggest supporters. He was always encouraging us to keep doing this, and he genuinely enjoyed doing it. Genuinely enjoyed listening to us do these stupid podcasts. So he was a great guy, and we're just sorry that he's gone. And this episode's for Andy. So
cheers, Rich.
Andy.
I was very well put, my friend. Yeah, we lost one of our only genuine supporters there. Bless him. But yeah, I mean, it's a segue because of he used to do like photography and stuff, and he did a lot of shit with Egypt. So this is a kind of not like a fit-in episode really, because it's just a random one that we ended up doing, but kind of segues into this.
It's got a connection.
Yeah, everything's connected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy times. So yeah, I'll be leading this cast more or less, and I am going off script, as you could probably tell. But yeah, essentially, what we want to talk about today on the Steegcast is pyramids, or a pyramid at least, in regards to. We love a good mystery here on Steegcast. We've done many mysteries and conspiracy theories and all sorts of mad shit like that. We've been doing a pyramid cast for ages, but we haven't done one, so now we're finally doing one. But for the sake of time and minimizing the sprawl, we'll be focusing on one pyramid, the Great Pyramid, the biggest pyramid, and we'll go from there. So what I've done to try and simplify this as much as possible and to not go down too many tangents, yet also cover many tangents at the same time. See what I did there? I've created a handy dandy iceberg chart because I watch too much YouTube. I spend a lot of time watching crap on YouTube, and I've seen like a lot of these iceberg charts knocking about. So I thought this would be a good way to do this. I guess I don't know if I should ask or not. You guys know what an iceberg chart is, right?
Bit of a buzzword, son, is it, on the internet at the moment?
I mean, I don't know where they originated from. I'll be honest with you.
Probably meetings, probably corporate meetings, I imagine.
Iceberg charts, do you reckon?
No,
possibly.
It's probably like I don't know. They use it to illustrate like the dark or deep web is the most prominent example of an iceberg chart, isn't it? On how
there's
it's
more
laid
than
out.
meets the eye
kind
of thing. Like.
Yeah, definitely.
Transformers, like.
Was there a little bit memey at all, though?
I think so, yeah. It is kind of like a meme template, isn't it? But it's quite informative at the same time. Like I said, I used to see it for like music genres or like certain genres of music, and it'd be like the bands in that genre, and it'd be going all the way down to like the mad shit.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's my kind of experience with it. But yeah, I've done one on the pyramid. I've put as much as I could think in there, various mysteries and different tangents, and starting with the stuff that everyone may know about generally, and then just the mad shit at the bottom and everything in between. So we're going to start out. I'm going to ask the Steegs to pick some buzzwords. This is like fucking shooting stars. Pick like a line from each one, and we'll go down the Great Pyramid fucking iceberg. I feel like I'm not really selling this idea, but that's what we're gonna do. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how do we start this. Oh Christ, look, my arm is on the my pyramid. I suppose the first thing I better ask everybody, I guess, is what do you know about pyramids? Because until recently, I didn't know fucking anything about pyramids. I've kind of gone head first into it, but I know, Tom, you did some like goosing into pyramids and stuff in the not so distant past.
Oh, it was a while back now you're saying that, son. That was when I was schizophrenic. You know how it goes. You smoke too much weed, you watch too much Stargate, and the next thing you know, there's like aliens landing on the pyramids. That's how things go. There's Stargates inside them, and electromagnetic fields buzzing around them. But no, the reality is it's probably a lot more grounded than that. Probably, I hope not, but probably. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just delved into the more like outlandish sort of things. I never watched like the aliens guy. I never. What was that? Ancient
aliens.
Is it ancient aliens?
Yeah,
is it?
I think it is. Yeah, I never like felt that far down, but I got pretty into like the Anunnaki and all that shit. Like,
Didn't quite fall that far down, but I got into the Anunnaki.
pretty much.
On a slightly Steegcast related tangent, didn't the ancient aliens people come to Wales for when we covered that UFO thing?
Yeah, it was Penturk, wasn't it? Or was it that area? Or was it the...
That's it, yeah, Penturk.
Was it that one? Or it was another one as well? The other Welsh Roswell sort of...
Roswell.
Yeah. It was one of the stories was them though, yeah.
Roswell. Right then. Yeah, tidy show. I guess we start right at the top of the iceberg again. So the iceberg will flash on the screen in post editing every now and then. Richard, we always make Richard do pointless shit like this, so cheers for that. Would anybody like to pick a subject from the first line, above the tip of the iceberg? Is anybody interested in there?
I'm gonna suggest we start off talking a little bit perhaps about some of the theories or perhaps who built the pyramids. For example, slaves built the pyramids is a topic that has popped up for me there.
There we are. Tidy. That's a good one to start with because that's what everyone gets taught in school, isn't it?
Let's take it back into perhaps building terminologies, building side of it.
So when you think
I'm not saying it was aliens.
Well, if aliens built it, they definitely used slaves. You know what I mean? They had everybody with their like.
They bioengineered the slaves, some from the Nephilim.
I mean, just to reel back in a bit though, most people would probably, if you were to speak to them about it, would wonder how something like of this sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Structure then was created all them years ago, sort of thing. That's the first thing that popped into most people's minds, including myself. How was something like this created all them years ago? We had no mobile phones, no technologies. How was this created?
Technology is it? Like you see in the documentaries, all those like those holes drilled that are like perfect. Things fitted at perfect angles. And
we had no power tools.
People seemingly find that hard to believe. I don't. Realistically, though, people back then weren't stupider than we are now. People make that kind of assumption. They just didn't have the technology. It doesn't mean they didn't know like A plus B equals C.
I mean, technology does not equal intelligence, as everyone
Not
knows in this day and age. Yeah.
No, not at all. If anything, we were almost dumbed down with the sort of constant, in the phone business.
Yeah.
But certainly something that pops up for me is how they were built. That would absolutely be the first thing that I would go to when delving into it all.
That's a very good question, son, and the answer is nobody knows.
No, nobody knows.
Hence the insane amount of like fascination with such a thing. And when you're speaking about technology and that, like you've never been able to like recreate building them either. Like even using modern day shit like cranes and.
I was going to ask why hasn't any more been built in modern day?
Exactly.
You would think that something like this is very grand, and they would be able to build one a lot quicker than they did back then.
Or replicate. Replicate.
What's really mad is the big fuckers you see on the telly. That they're the 4th dynasty pyramids. They're attributed to the 4th Egyptian dynasty. The ones that came before, they're a bit rocky, and then the ones that came after are fucking shit. So they perfected the art of building pyramids, and then randomly fell off within a period of a couple of 100 years. So all the ones from 5th dynasty onwards are just some of them don't even exist. They just rubble, and then there's like a tunnel going down, and you've got the shit underground. That's how they knew it was a pyramid there.
Yeah.
The pyramid itself is gone. None of them have lasted except these fuckers. So like, what? It's really strange. Or they were so good at fucking building something, and then like immediately kind of forgot how to build it.
What do we think? What do we think happened there? What do we think is the reasoning behind that?
Lost the people that built them, and the knowledge just died with a family line, maybe.
Maybe it could literally be as something as that. Like, there's never been any like plans or shit found.
Yeah.
So like maybe like, you know, when you like some of like the great architects of the past have names like Imhotep and all shit like that. If they all fucking died and took their secrets with them, maybe they didn't know how to fucking build shit. Maybe it is as simple as that. Maybe people say the aliens came and built them and then fucked off, taking the technology with them, and you know, we couldn't build them without the aliens. You know, you could look at it.
Did they did they experiment with like what are they? I don't know if steep or step pyramids. The like gradual. Yeah, they look like steps. You know, like the
like the
Aztecs,
Mayan
the
ones.
Yeah, were they ever brought into Egypt, or were they always more of like a
South America?
Nah, man.
Yeah,
there
like
is
Mayan.
one. Yeah, there is one that came before. Maybe more than one. I don't know, but there's definitely one that came before these. That's a step pyramid. Zos's pyramid. Can't remember where. I don't know. When it comes to like pharaohs and lineage and timelines, I can't fuck. It's like Game of Thrones. It's like fucking millions of characters, and they all got like the same name. And I'm just like I can't keep up. But yeah, there was a step pyramid. There was a bent pyramid as well, which is proper mad looking. It kind of goes up like this and then across like that. It looks like I don't know what the fuck it looks like, to be honest. A bent pyramid, I suppose.
Like you've dragged the wrong point on a thing in Illustrator, and instead of enlarging something, you've just skewed it off to the.
Yeah.
Any designers out there listening to this?
Just Google the bent pyramid, and it comes up, and it's like, what the hell happened there? You know, people think, oh, we're building it too steep, and it started going out fucking wobbly, so they just corrected it. I don't know. It's mad, but yeah, I don't know who the fuck built them, why they were built. No one knows really. But that line you picked there, slaves built the pyramid. That was like the narrative, like the official line for a long time, until they I think it was in the 90s. They found like a fucking village, like under the lost village where all the workers used to live, and they found like breweries, granaries, like butcher shops, and fucking all these like housing and stuff, like for thousands and thousands of people. So it was like, well, it don't look like they were slaves, you know.
could have been a paid workforce. Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of what they were. Kind of where they go at now, you know.
In many respects, we could say that was sort of how obviously we're from the South Wales valleys. You've got the mines, you've got the rows of the terraced houses, you know, with the high street shops and stuff.
Yeah,
you could say perhaps similar to that kind of thing.
In a lot of ways, you saying like.
Exactly, man. Yeah, imagine like the planet got vaporized now, and in like 1,000 years, someone comes down and finds the collieries. Exactly that. They were like, oh, there must have been slaves working in here. Who the fuck would work in here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even though it was
That
basically slave labor, wasn't
brings
it?
a
You know,
really good question though, Gar. Like, what came first, like the actual civilization around the pyramids, or did? Because I know, which you'll probably get into later, about the stars and the apparent aligning of it. So did they build the pyramids there for that reason and then build a settlement around it, or did they have the settlement there?
Well, this is it, yeah.
Should we build these triangles?
That's it. Who the fuck knows?
That's what I wonder.
Where do Toblerones come into it?
Fucking Swiss. Alright, cool. Does anyone want to pick another thing from the rung? I think we'll do two. We'll do two per thing, because we were ages on that one, and I fear we will tangent into a massively long podcast. So we'll do two per. What do you call it? Level, I guess.
Yeah. One that's sticking out to me is the big void.
The big void. What? Oh, I need. See, this is where I need diagrams. So recently, a bunch of mad scientist folk started scanning the pyramid using like. Well, they don't use anything. They use cosmic rays and like atmospheric radiation. Basically, fucking rays from space come down like this, and by scanning those rays, they can like tell where like. Oh fuck me! I'm not a fucking scientist at all. But basically, they can like detect like cavities underground and stuff by searching for these rays in the atmosphere or whatever, and where like certain density of these like particles and shit are, they can identify where like voids might be in like structures or in like.
Is that similar to how they do it in the sea with the sauna? Like isn't that how that works undersea when they find like undersea caves and things?
I think more or less, yeah. It's slightly different technology, but it's more or less the same principle. I would think they do it in like the Amazon and stuff. I think it's called lidar. It's where they try and scan down through the trees to find all the like shit that's underneath it. It's kind of like that, but you're just basically just interpreting the patterns of like atoms and shit in the air to try and figure out like how they're reacting to like the shit that's is or isn't there. Well, long story short, doing this, they found like this huge fucking void, like probably like 2/3 of the way up the pyramid. There's this huge like 30-meter long corridor that no one can get to because it's like fucking. It's nowhere near any of the existing kind of chambers or tunnels. So like, it was a case of people basically their fucking machine has told them there's a void there. So everyone's like, oh, it might not even be there. But they also found a small tunnel right by the entrance, and they drilled into that this year and confirmed that it was real. So it's looking very likely that this big void is definitely there. So there's this huge like 30-meter, I think it's 30-meter, maybe 30 foot. I think it's fucking massive anyway. It'd be one of the biggest rooms in there by far. And no one knows how to get to it. That's quite a tantalizing one. It was all over the news like quite a lot recently, so that's why it's in the top rung of the old.
So there's no like ruined sort of pathways or any. There's literally no way to it from any angle that they can see.
No, it's above any of the existing chambers. Like it'd be good if I had a diagram of the pyramid, but it's like it's above. It's way above anything that's there now, and there's no way they can figure out how to get to it without like just tunneling and like destroying a bunch of shit, which they will never allow that to happen. So yeah, it's a strange one. I don't know if they'll ever get to it, if it'll ever be found. It's fucking mad, really. Like, what are they gonna do about that? That's a strange one, to be honest.
You also have to ask what they'd gain from that all that as well, though. If
that's it, man.
It's just curiosity, isn't it? Just satisfying that curiosity.
Yeah,
people,
it is.
But it could also cause more harm than good,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the day you get up there, there's an empty room. It's an empty room. There's several theories about why it exists. But, exactly. But yeah, there we go. That's the big void. Yeah.
They should use dynamite to try and get into there, I think.
Someone did that, didn't they? Did someone do that?
Someone did do that quite a lot. In fact, there's a point on this. In Tier 3 called Wily Coyote has entered the chat. But yeah, let's drop down a rung then. Let's drop down a rung on the old pyramid iceberg. I will just do an honourable mention that we missed in Tier 1. It was Pharaoh's Revenge. Does anyone know what Pharaoh's Revenge is?
No, I was going to pick that one. It sounds cool.
It sounds like a fart.
Sounds
it
like
is
a video
when you
game.
shit yourself. It's when you travel to the glorious and majestic country of Egypt and then shit yourself for eating all the food that they have.
Is that true? Is this legit?
I got this off someone who has been to Egypt, and they coined this term. I've heard of Sharm el Shits. I've never heard of Pharaoh's Revenge. I thought. Yeah,
I genuinely thought you were humouring Gareth when you were saying that. I didn't realise it was true.
I'm sure I can recall. Flatulence-based stories inside the pyramids as well, if I'm correct.
Yes. That's where it came out. They were basically.
A lot of farting goes on in them pyramids.
They were sharting, and he was afraid of Pharaoh's Revenge. Was the context of the term it was used in, and I was like, "What the fuck is Pharaoh?"
Pharaoh's Revenge, everybody. Pharaoh's Revenge.
There we go.
Why Pharaoh's Revenge, though? Am I missing something?
You're soiling yourself.
It's just a funny term, isn't it?
So.
Yeah, it's Pharaoh's Revenge. It's like, because you go on holiday to Egypt, you're walking around and like defiling all their tombs and shit. Like, as you're a tourist, you're just walking around taking pictures of their dead bodies and shit. So it's the Pharaoh's Revenge. You shit yourself for eating too many.
That's funny. So one could suggest that heavy flatulence and soiling of oneself is quite common in these parts for tourists and things.
Yeah, well, if you're not, it's because you come from different parts of the world, and different biomes and shit. I don't fucking know.
Interesting.
Anyway, Tier 2. Tom, tits up.
Tier 2. Oh, there's two on here that interest me. I listened to a video on this one actually, but I think we'll go into it. The shaft point to the stars. Let's go for that one.
Oh, let's go for that one. This is a fun one. So basically, inside the pyramid, in the two main rooms, there are these like little fucking passageways. That's probably about the size like a cat could crawl down it. That's how big they are. And they go for fucking... They come out of the middle of the pyramid where the chambers are, all the way out to the fucking edge. It's maddening, really. Those were the things that really got me interested in the pyramid when I seen those. And I was like, how in the fuck did they build that? That's like just nuts, you know what I mean? They've cut this tiny little fucking channel through the whole pyramid for X reason. And this particular one here, this shaft points to the stars, is a theory that because there's two shafts in each chamber, one pointing north, one pointing south, and there's a theory that they point to certain stars, or did, back when the pyramids were built, like whatever, 4,500 years ago. The South Star, I think, pointed to, I can't remember which way around it is, but one of them points to like the star that's somehow related to Osiris, and the other star points to one of the stars in Orion's belt. And yeah, there's some sort of like religious symbolic meaning there that like a pharaoh buried there is supposed to like travel up the fucking chute to the stars, you know, after he popped his clogs. Like the astral waters come in through one and then carry the soul out on the other, you know, something like that. It's an interesting theory, and the term star shaft certainly sounds a lot more entertaining than fucking air shaft or shaft that no one knows anything about. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does. I've had a read of this book. The guy who wrote this, well, this theory's been around for years, but the guy actually turned it into a proper theory and made a book about it. A guy called Robert Bovall. Doesn't really make sense when you when you lay it all out and actually look at like the facts and shit.
What's the book called? The book is called the Star Shaft Theory.
It's called the Orion. It's the Orion correlation theory. Right. And the book is called The Orion Mystery. Okay. By Robert Bovall. Yeah. You can get it for like pennies, man. I got it off Amazon, you know. But yeah, it doesn't really. There's many things that don't make it make sense. The shafts aren't dead straight. They bend around other like pieces of rock and internal features, so they don't look straight out. You wouldn't look up one and see the stars. That wouldn't happen, you know.
Do you think at one point that might have happened and it's kind of warped over time, or?
Oh no, definitely not. It's like it bends. Like if you see the video, the robot they sent up there, it goes around this massive corner. You know, again, how they even built it is just mental. But it just bends around other like tunnel that it. Bad planning, really. But yeah, it's never been straight ever. There is like some settlement in bits of it, like where the ceiling's coming in and shit. But yeah, no, they've never been straight. But yeah, that's the star shaft theory. It's an interesting one, but it's not a very popular theory. People don't really.
Just why in it? But that's the old question, I suppose. But like, if there are tombs, just why? Why go through that extra effort? You know.
Yeah,
it's just to let their cat in and out, you know, like you said.
They have to mean something.
Cat flap.
And well, this is it. To complicate things further, the ones in the top chamber, the King's Chamber, the so-called King's Chamber, they go all the way to the outside of the pyramid, and then the chamber underneath, what they call the Queen's Chamber, that has shafts too. They go all the way till about a couple of meters to the end of the pyramid, and they stop dead. And it's just like, why did you even bother building them? It's fucking crazy. And it's like, it just makes no sense. And there's these little doors at the end with these little copper handles on it, and it's like, what the fuck?
Are there theories about why they stopped? Because that's quite fascinating.
One of them is that the pyramid was extended, and that was the original burial place, and that where it stops was the original edge, and it was extended when they built another chamber above it, and the pyramid got bigger by about like 20%. They just cut that off there and cut their losses. That's one theory.
It sounds like me when I'm building something in a survival game and I end up building like a corridor that ends and just doesn't go anywhere because I've got no more material, so I just decide to close it off at the end. And then you just decorate it with like, you know, things that don't actually do anything.
I don't want to rush for it. I could happily talk about the star shafts all day, but we guess we've gone round the loop again, so it's back on Gareth. If you pick one from tier 2, we'll address another mystery of the Great Pyramid.
I'm going to go to one that briefly just came up that I skipped forward to, one which certainly interests me. The Wile E. Coyote has entered the chat. I like the sound of this. This is fun.
All right, okay. Yeah, that skips ahead. It's fine. It's not a problem. So that is a reference to some of the earlier explorers. These British fucking explorers who, back in the days of the Empire, would just fucking go anywhere and do whatever the fuck they want. And their method of exploring such ancient sites was to just fucking blow them to pieces, really. So, yeah, it was a guy called Howard Weiss and an Italian guy called Giovanni Caviglia who used a lot of fucking dynamite in their explorations. But to be fair, if they hadn't done that, we wouldn't have found some of the stuff that we know now about pyramids. So, like, it's kind of like going back to that fucking big void. It's like, what's the trade-off here? You could blast the fucking corridor.
Well, this is it.
Eventually to the big void, destroying fuck knows what. And then you'd find it, and you'd know it was there. But because this happened like 200 years ago or whatever, it's kind of just like, oh, yeah, British people were like, tally-ho. How do we get in here?
Was there any visible damage even now or whatever, or from this blowing up? Or is there any visible entry points or markings of?
Absolutely. There's lots and lots of visible damage, including if you look at the back of the pyramid. If you turn it around, there's a great big fucking hole in the back of it where they tried blasting their way in for the back doors.
And is this from that Weiss fellow you mentioned? Or?
Weiss, or Caviglia under the instructions of Weiss, I believe. Yeah, so they were less than subtle. But that's how they got up, like above the king's chamber, which is where the sarcophagus and stuff is, and those shafts are. Above that, there's like 4 or 5 other chambers. Like no one really knows what the fuck they're for. They only found that by just blowing fucking holes through the wall and climbing up in there, which is just mad, really.
Mad, it's mad.
The whole fucking thing will fall down on you.
Yeah.
But, and like they tried following one of the air shafts by blowing up and digging alongside it. Same with what they call the Man Killer Tunnel, which was another tunnel at the other end of an air shaft from the outside in. They just fucking.
Was that the one that was recently discovered? Or am I wrong?
No, that was that would have been the NFC, which is on the top tier, the North Face corridor.
Oh yeah, the North.
That was something. That's like fucking corridor that's been there for about 4,500 years if the timeline is to be believed, and it's behind about this much fucking stone by the main fucking entrance. Like they didn't even drill a hole; they just slid a fucking endoscopic camera underneath this stone and up, and they saw this fucking building. This room which hasn't been seen for like 5,000 years, and the only reason they found that was because of those scans that they were doing with like muons and
the relates
crazy.
Back to that,
it's been right there in front of everyone for all this whole time. It's crazy, like right by the entrance.
It's mad. It's mad. Even now they are, they're still discovering things. Then in many respects.
Yeah. Disappointingly, they've put this Scan Pyramids is the name of the project. They go in and moving on to the other pyramids now, and they're not really finding anything. Because, obviously when they found these, voids inside this one, they were like, oh, fuck, let's go scan all the others.
Exactly, yeah. They'd expect them to find something.
And they haven't really found anything. So, as always, the Great Pyramid is a complete anomaly compared to all the others. It just seems to have all the mysteries in it.
That's the one. That's the one.
It is. There is some mad shit in the other ones, but this is, the maddest one, easily. It's just what the fuck's even going on inside here? But yeah. That is the Wile E. Coyote entry on the iceberg chart.
Very enjoyable. I can imagine some guy in a white suit with a white hat, dynamite in his pocket. That's kind of how I picture him.
One of those hard, kind of bowl-shaped hats with the fabric stretched over it. You'd see someone carrying a blunderbuss for a jungle wearing.
I'm thinking about. Do you know the Simpsons character who's the gun shooter?
Get out of my head! I was literally just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking more of that. I'm thinking about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's on to Richard to pick another item off the wheel of the pyramid mystery tangent chart.
Can I go seeing as we've jumped one? Can I go straight to the bottom just out of pure curiosity?
Fuck it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Man's changing the game.
So, to go to the Indiana Jones reference at the bottom there, the Ark of the Covenant.
I knew this would come up. So this is a bit of a fringe theory that basically when they finally broke into the pyramid and found it, it was empty. There's no treasure in there, and or bodies or anything. And there's a theory that so there's a guy called like Al-Mamun. He was like some sort of Islamic caliphate guy, and they came to Egypt and they dug this fucking tunnel into the pyramid. That's how you get into it now as a tourist. You'd go through Al-Mamun's hole, which is actually an entry on this chart, to be fair. And there's a theory that hole was dug not to get into the pyramid but to get out, and what they were removing was something heavy and something very important. And there are people who believe that the Ark of the Covenant was originally like sealed inside the pyramid and it was stolen, and it's been moved elsewhere. There's funny enough, right next to it there's a in the iceberg chart there's black stone of Mecca, and this is another thing that what's that thing in, is it Mecca where they have that great big black square in the middle of the...
Mecca is, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
That's
They
right.
go
And there's
around it.
That's right, yeah. And on that black square, there's a tiny little separate piece of black stone, and they believe that came. Not they, but there's another theory that was also switched out Ark of the Covenant with black stone of Mecca. That was in there, and that's why the Caliph came to Egypt and was so determined to fucking break into the pyramid, because he knew there was like ancient like secrets inside there, and he took it back and stuck it to the fucking Mecca stone thing. I mean, it's probably bollocks, isn't it? But like, just another
Makes me
mad
wonder
theory
of the religious significance to their religion, mind.
We can just be thankful that Christianity never made it to Egypt in any full way. Otherwise, they would have just fucking dismantled the fucking things, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah.
It'd be in a museum somewhere. They'd rebuild it in St. Fagans.
Yeah, good luck rebuilding that.
Yeah.
The British have a lot to answer for when it comes to going in and ruining monuments and things over the course of history. Isn't there that meme where it's like in Greece there's like 8 statues in an ark, and one's missing, and that one missing is in the British Museum. And it's like I don't know if they've given that back or whatever now, but like there was something in the news last year about, so I can't remember what country it was, but it might be Greece again, basically saying, can we have our stuff back, please?
Oh, yeah. They gave it back. What was that? No, what was it?
I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. That was last year sometime. Yeah.
On that note, it wasn't this pyramid. It was one of the. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the other big ones on the Giza area. They had a sealed sarcophagus inside it, like this great ornate sarcophagus with all like carvings on it. They chucked it on a boat to take it back to the British Museum, and the boat sank, and they lost it forever. Another thing, going back to tier 2, there's a thing they called Dixon relics. These were the only things ever found inside the pyramid by an explorer called Wayman Dixon. Found them in the air shaft, actually. Star shaft, sorry. It's like a hook and a ball and a piece of wood, some sort of tool that had been left behind. That's the only thing they've ever found inside. They put it in like a cigar box. Went missing for hundreds of years. I don't know if it was hundreds of years, but it was gone. They found it recently in like a Scottish museum, just randomly. Do you know what I mean? Like if you like reading the like Robert Bouval books about the star shafts, and like I was reading like a Graham Hancock book, I think, from the 90s, and it's mentioned in there that it's such a disgrace that like, you know, we lost these fucking like priceless artifacts, and they've actually found them now. They've just randomly shown up on the shelf somewhere in the back room of a fucking museum. You know.
Can you imagine
like a
just
fucking
like
back
a
of
bunch
a
of
Sports
guys,
Direct.
bunch of guys just like looking over a shelf and they couldn't find it, and then like their mother comes in, and she's just like, "It's right there, you bastards!"
Yeah, crazy shit. I think that sends it round to you, Tom. And at this point, I think it's fair game. We just fucking pick one from wherever.
No, we've thrown it to the wind. Is the 440 hertz, is that about the resonance chamber?
Yeah, so it's about if you strike like a tuning fork or whatever inside the King's Chamber. It's built out. The entire thing's built out of granite. Like the whole thing, the pyramid's built out of limestone, but that chamber in the middle is completely built
Is
out
it-
of granite.
Is
Which
it
weighs a ton.
the kind of the one that kind of comes inwards at like slabs? If
No, it's not. That's the one that leads up to it. But no, it's not that one. It's when you go up the top of that and into a little tunnel, then you're in like the burial chamber, and it's completely solid granite. And if you like hit like a tuning fork or whatever, it's like 440. It'll be constantly 440. Or you use like electronic reading devices. It'll always be like a solid 440 hertz or whatever. It was 432 maybe, something really close to 440. But it's just like,
any relevance to like I don't know what relevance that hertz is. Is it?
a lot of new age bullshit, really. To be honest,
Chakras.
chakras and shit. Yeah, it's supposed to be like the type of sound that like flows through you rather than at you.
Does it make
It's supposed
crystals vibrate when they bring them into the chamber?
We're going along that kind of thread. Yeah. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of new age kind of meaning behind this, the significance of this frequency. Like there's an album about a guy who recorded like a load of flute shit in the pyramids, and he did it for that reason, because the flute would resonate at that frequency. Yeah, it's bullshit. But people meditate in there, and shit like that.
I bet our reverb is mental.
Oh, it's absolutely crackers. Not
Yeah.
that I've ever been, but like you can hear it, and like you can talk to you'll be up right at the top gallery, and you can hear people in the one that's underground. You can it's crazy, It's like, I don't know, the reverberation.
Reverberation.
Reverberation. There we go. Yeah, I can't speak. I can't say that word. But yeah, it's crackers, to be fair.
Crazy shit going on in Egypt, man. Oh, tell you what, I don't think it's on there. I didn't see it on there. But are there any like ghost stories of the pyramids? Like, has anyone seen anything at all, like around there?
You never heard about that, do you?
No, that's
Never
what I
heard about that.
just had the thought now. Like, you never hear anything like that, and it's
Never hear
like
about
one of
that.
the oldest things we know on the planet. And it's like, surely there's like some fucking Pharaoh wandering around the place going. Like,
See, the pyramid did its job, son. It shot his fucking soul up into the stars,
Seems like though, yeah.
As soon as he popped out, those astral waters came in and took him. No, that's a very good point, considering if by the official narrative, that entire area is a fucking necropolis. Like everything around it, there's tombs everywhere. Like there's hundreds of them. They're just finding them in the ground, and you'd think there would be like some sort of ghostly shit going on there, wouldn't you? I'm not saying there isn't. I've never like read about anything like that, But you'd think, even people who've died like there, like I don't know, builders who died in like accidents when it was being built. The angry souls come back, or even tourists that have fallen off the fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Farted too much.
Yeah, we all barted too much.
Farted
Too much Pharaoh's revenge.
too much.
you
Well,
got
too much
barted to
junk.
death. I'm sorry. Like,
You got hassled to death on the way to the pyramid by people selling you fucking junk.
he told him he didn't want that necklace, but he just wouldn't listen.
This man weighed down by too many trinkets.
What about I don't think it's on your. I can't see it, but like, what about people eating mummies? Is that actually a thing?
I don't know. It's the first time I've ever heard of that, to be honest.
I'm gonna Google that right now.
Why would they eat mummies? Why would they go through all that trouble
People
to preserve it just to eat it?
Eating
Like jerky,
mummies.
I guess,
Oh,
innit?
people are stupid. Due to a series of misunderstandings and mistranslations, medieval Europeans believed that consuming embalmed bodies could cure them of disease.
Oh, fuck me.
The
Quite the
gory
opposite.
history of Europe's mummy-eating fad, whether that's like Egyptian or so says Google, but that might be a conversation for you to maybe look into, son.
That's a new one on my end, man. Yeah, I'll have to take. Thing is, you'd have to find the fucking mummies first. They don't find many.
People's tummies, son, that's what they are.
They what?
They're in people's tummies, all the mummies.
That's why it's called Pharaoh's Revenge. You eat a pharaoh, you shit yourself. Job done. I've just had this fragment of a 4 millennia-old corpse. What's the worst that could happen?
Pharaoh rap.
It's all going up from here. Like everything's coming up in your lives. Oh dear. All right, let's take it down to. Let's go to tier 4. We'll keep it tier 4 and below, and I think it's on you, Gar. So
yes, the alcove in the Queen's Chamber and its tunnel.
Oh shit! All right. So, excuse me. Inside the Queen's Chamber, the so-called Queen's Chamber, because it's nothing to do with the Queen, which is like the middle of the 3 chambers inside the Great Pyramid. It's got an alcove. It's got like this little stepped kind of alcove that you can like walk into. You can probably just stand in it like this, I guess. And no one knows why it's there. Like, it must have been difficult to build because the blocks are stepped all weird. So naturally, people like think, well, you know, there's got to be some reason why it's there. Maybe it's a secret tunnel. Maybe it's treasure in it. So some fucking mad cunt dug this huge fucking tunnel out of the back of it, basically smashed through it. And they found inside there a solid limestone tunnel, you know, made out of a square. So like, you think like, shit, there's a fucking tunnel in here. So they kept going to the end of that. And that stops because why? It's like another dead-end dummy tunnel, and then they just kept digging through the pyramid in this weird kind of tunnel. It just goes off, and then they stopped because they just gave up, I guess, because it became apparent that they dug through the real tunnel, which was probably about 2 or 3 meters long, and then just kept going on their own like rough tunnel that they made, and it was just going nowhere. They would have eventually come to outside the pyramid. What's even weirder is the actual alcove, the tunnel behind that. It's just like, I don't know, 2 foot high tunnel which you can crawl into. I can't remember if it's above or below, but the stone that's above it is like one of the heaviest in the pyramid. Like, it's like, I don't want to say 80 fucking tons, but it's fucking massive. And it's like, what is that there for? Behind an alcove that you would never have looked at. And there's just a lot of fuck-assing about like what is actually there and why is this tiny tunnel there? Why is the alcove there? Why? And then that's why that's there, because that's a mystery you come across if you start digging around. You know, that's why it's kind of in the middle of the iceberg. It's like, you know, you will eventually come to that strange construction and the fact that someone dug all the way through it looking for treasure or whatever. I don't really know what else to say.
If the constructions were like made out of like granite, obviously just going off a mad thought here, but if the constructions were like made out of granite and limestone, and the actual sandstone and all that were just built to preserve those bits of limestone and granite, like packaging.
How do you mean? So it's like, you know, like a coating, and it's actually more inside.
Yeah, like, oh, let's keep it safe, and so they just chuck loads of sand around it. Obviously, that's some bullshit, because they were white when they were like the gold top and everything, you know. But just moozing.
Yeah, I mean, it had that was same. I think it was the same as the stuff you can see now. It was still limestone. It was just cut at like an angle, so it looked smooth. And then obviously in the sun, it fucking was just like apparently like blindingly bright or whatever. How the fuck they got that gold thing up on top of it, we'll never know if that was even real. But yeah. Mad, really.
We haven't got that in the museum. Have we not got one of those?
No, there's like stone ones from like other pyramids, but not one from the Great Pyramid. One, if there was one on the Great Pyramid, it's not.
Fuck's sake! I googled gold Egypt cap, and it's showing me hats.
That's a lovely cap, son.
What am I looking at there?
The word you're looking for is pyramidion, son.
Pyramidion. That's the name of the top bit, is it?
That's the top stone, yeah. That's where all the lasers shoot out of. Yes, we've covered several mysteries of the Great Pyramid by there in this nice little iceberg chart situation. Kind of turned into like a roulette wheel at the end, just picking them all off the fucking page. Obviously, there's way too many of them there to just keep firing through them all in one episode. But if anyone's interested in us going through a few more of these, just let us know. We can do another session like this.
Perhaps you can break it down a bit more.
Exactly, yeah. Because, like, you know, maybe I'll get a diagram.
Can I get a request for some more information on the people eating mummies?
I'll have to
Please.
defer. I'll take an action, as they say in work. I'll take an action. In that case, then I'll stop talking, I think, and we'll round this episode out, and we'll catch you in the next one, I suppose.
See you now.
Right then. Ta-ra now.
Ta-ra.
Pour me a cold one.